when two armed security guards showed up at my lakeside ranch, shouting that I had no rights on my own land. I thought it was a bad joke. It wasn't. It was an HOA power grab in full swing. But by midnight, their headquarters was dark, their staff had scattered, and I was sitting with the county sheriff and a judge holding documents that changed everything. You won't believe what they tried to steal, or how badly it backfired. It started on a Monday morning just after dawn, the kind where the lake's still glassy and the fog hugs the tree line like a sleeping giant. I'd just finished feeding the horses when a black SUV rolled up my gravel driveway with Lake Ranch HOA security slapped across the side in bold white letters. Out stepped two uniformed men, armed, aggressive, and loud. The taller one walked right up to me, chest puffed, and declared, "You're trespassing. This land isn't yours anymore." I nearly dropped the feed bucket. "Excuse me," I said, thinking it was a prank. But it wasn't. They had a printed notice claiming my property was reclassified under HOA management due to a new covenant passed last quarter. Funny thing, I never joined the HOA, never signed a thing. My land, all 23 acres, had been in my family since 1894, long before there was even a development called Lake Ranch. I told them so. The short one smirked and said, "That's not how it works anymore. You've been absorbed." Absorbed. What kind of sci-fi nonsense were they pushing? I told them to leave, but they refused. Instead, placing a bright red sign on my gate, HOA enforcement notice property in violation. That's when I knew this wasn't just some mistake. This was a full-on land grab. I went inside and called the county clerk's office. They had no record of my land being reassigned, so I called my lawyer. Turns out, I wasn't the only one. 4 other landowners had reported the same thing in the past 2 weeks. I was furious, but calm, because when someone tries to take from you what generations before you bled and worked for, you don't scream. You get smart. That afternoon, I filed a cease and desist. Then, I drove 2 hours to the State Land Commission and handed them every deed, survey, and document I had. The moment they saw my records, eyebrows raised. What the HOA had done wasn't just shady, it was illegal. They were annexing non-member properties using falsified amendments and retroactive covenants. A full investigation was opened within the hour, and I didn't stop there. I reached out to a friend of mine, local news anchor, good guy, and gave him the whole story. By evening, it was on TV. Lake Ranch HOA accused of land takeover scheme. But the real kicker came later that night. I got a call from a county judge asking me to meet him at the HOA's office building downtown, their so-called headquarters. When I arrived with the sheriff and a news crew in tow, we found it locked and dark. Papers inside were scattered. Staff had fled. The place had been raided earlier that evening based on forged land transfer documents tied to the HOA president himself. Turns out he was using HOA fees to fund a side hustle, flipping land he didn't own. But guess what? He picked the wrong ranch to mess with. In less than 24 hours, I went from being labeled a trespasser on my own land to being the whistleblower who shut down the most corrupt HOA in the county. A week later, I got a personal apology from the State Land Commission and the armed guards. Turns out they were private contractors, now under investigation, too. I put the red enforcement sign they left on my gate up on my wall, not as a warning, but as a trophy, a reminder that even when people come at you with titles and threats, the truth and a good paper trail is the sharpest weapon of all. So next time someone tells you that you don't have rights on your own land, ask them one question. You're sure about that?